Hi everybody, I'm back. Last video, I talked about how I was going to touch base on how I'm doing with using the CPAP, APAP machine. And I also talked about how I was going to see my doctor. Which, by the way, if you liked last week's video, let me know. I liked it, and truly that's what matters. I don't think I'll do a video like that all the time, but it was fun to sort of do like a follow me around vlog outfit of the day thing, which I enjoyed thoroughly. And I might start doing more content like that. It can be like a, you can watch this video if you want, but here's the regular stuff on its way or whatever. So I didn't do the same thing I did last time with my last video about the CPAP machine. I didn't record, like, vlog every single night before I went to sleep because I didn't know how long I would be testing it out for. Consider, like, it's been over a month since I've had it. I got it on April 7th and it's now May 15th. And you're probably wondering what's going on. In my last video about this, I talked about how it was like, it seemed, I couldn't keep it on my face and it might have been working, might have not. There wasn't enough evidence or proof to show that my bedwetting had subsided. It did, I did say in the video that it did sort of like lighten up, if you will, but I can't be sure. Like, it's hard to tell that it was even that. It could have been anything. But I wanted to touch base with you on what's going on now. I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to get through the night. What else is new? What I mean by that is I still haven't fallen asleep with it on. Oh, and I have gone through, I started off with 2 masks, and then I had another 2, and now I have another 2. So I've gone through 6 masks, if you will, but I have 3 currently. Actually, let's go get them right now. I took Snapchat footage of the other 2. So here's mask number 1 and mask number 2. They both have the same features, where this one's just for your noses, or nose holes. This is gonna be a little bit more wider than the other one I had. And then this one you have the nose that sits here, and then the mouth in there. But they both are like non-front-facing hoses, like they come at the top so you can curl up and swivel and whatever, and there's no hose in your face, which I'm gonna think is gonna be a much more positive experience for falling asleep in. And yeah, the mask I like the most, I guess I would say, is this, if you will, Hannibal Lecter style mask. Not because it looks like Hannibal Lecter, but it has a really good function about it, and that it comes out of the top. So this mask hose comes around the sides of your face, and then the hose just swivels around the top of your head, which is a really, really handy feature if you think about it. And you're not technically like squeeze and close this if you lie on your side, because it sits around your face like that, but you have the other side as well. And I really, really wish this would work for me. I was told that when I saw the lady who fits the masks last week, or a week before, she said I had a really tiny face. And I said to her, no one's ever told me I had a tiny anything about me. So I was very shocked to hear that I had a very tiny little like mouth space, like here, like from my nose to my mouth. And I guess it's like really just short. Like I have a tiny face, and every small is almost too big for me. I find that this one works by you sit your nose on this front piece here, and it's the nostrils sit in this little opening, but I think that the nostrils are just too, like the nostril space is just too big for mine, and it ends up spraying water. Wow, that would be counterproductive. Kill me. Spraying air into my eyes. And another thing about this is that I guess you sit your face, or your mouth sits in here, and it also has magnets. So these ones clip on and off with a magnet, which I think is a really good feature for ripping off in the middle of the night when you're sick and tired of it. So there's a lot of benefits to this mask. The biggest benefit for me is that the swivel top, so that it sits above your head and you can move around, and you're just basically like a little helicopter hat. And to me, that's the best feature. It's relatively comfortable, and I find that with this one I don't get plugged ears as much, but I still get plugged ears. Like when you breathe, like, you know, when your ears kind of like plug up because there's too much air pressure or something, or not enough, I don't know. Anyways, but the major problem with it is that I find because my face is too small or something, that air just seeps out of it and into my eyes, or when the air is expelled, it comes out of these little front pockets here, and here, and it just shoots forward and bounces back into my eyes or something, like it like pushes off another pillow or something. And it's really uncomfortable, like super uncomfortable. Either I wake up and my eyes are super dry, or they're like tearing up to keep them moisturized. I've tried sleeping with a sleeping mask on underneath because I do have one that I like to wear, especially just to keep the light out. And it doesn't necessarily, like when it's like on here, it just like the sleeping mask touches here, and it doesn't tuck under or anything like that. I really just wanted this one to work, so I've actually tried it for a few weeks now. Keep trying to give it a go. It's not working. The next mask is a nose mask for like a pillowy nose mask, in that it is no longer a front top one, like where it sits on top of your head. This one is a bar across the middle of your nose, and then the pillowy part sits on the front of your nose like a little cushion, and your nose sits in there. So you push the air, it fills with air, and then you put it on your nose, and then it just sort of sits there. And this is the one I've been kind of trying to use and get used to. And I'll show you the third one in a second. It's sort of similar to this, but like with this one, with it just sitting on top of your nose, again, my nose is too small or something, because this seems to be too big of an opening, and I get a little bit of air leakage through it. But overall, I find that it sort of just like sits on your nose funny, and it just kind of hugs it a little too tight or something. I don't really like the idea of this one, again, because it is out the front, and that means that if I flip over in bed, then I have to take the piece and like put it behind my head so I can face the other direction of the machine. But it is the one I'm giving a go because it is a little bit more comfortable. One of the biggest things I'm struggling with now is yawning and having my ears sort of like plug or fill up with too much pressure. Because when you yawn, you usually yawn with your mouth, but because there's air being pushed into the hose, which is being pushed like around your nose, if you yawn with your nose and exhale through your mouth, which is what I've been trying to do, it's difficult to do because then it pushes air in, but you're also pushing air out in a different capacity, and you end up plugging your ears, and it's really uncomfortable. And I yawn a lot before I go to sleep. Like, I'm always yawning, so it's kind of hard to avoid. And then the third one is the most simplest, and it's very similar to the other one. It's actually made by the same brand or company. And this one is another pillowy one, and then this one sits inside your nostrils, and it's a bit different, as in that the other one I had, where it was like the nose piece, it sat and sort of plugged my nostrils. I find this one sits a little bit more inside your nostrils, which is kind of nice, but it's still, it isn't comfortable. It is very simple. Like, it's the simplest mask. Like I said, it's only just a band, and it sits behind the back of your head, and then you just put that in your nose. And this is just an attachment piece to the rest of the big hose. I might try this one again tonight. And then they both clip on and off like that if you need to take it on and off. I haven't really given it more than 3 or 4 nights of a go because it isn't staying on, or sorry, it's not that they're not staying on. I'd say that it's not that they're not staying on, it's that I'm ripping them off when they're uncomfortable. I think they increased the pressure one night, because I looked at it last night and it said it was at 7, and mind you, when I started this whole thing it was at 5, so they've increased it from 5 to 6 to 7. Which is fine. It's very, very, very small of a difference, and it's hard to tell when you're in the middle of the night what the problem is, because I think I'm waking up, like barely falling asleep, and waking up either like I can't breathe, like I'm catching my breath, because I feel like maybe there's not enough pressure. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And I'm trying to keep notes, but it's difficult because I'm in the middle of the night and I don't really want to pull up my phone and write down notes about stuff. And like, my phone actually has this really cool feature where it's like nighttime feature, so I always turn on the night light before I go to bed, because I usually scroll Instagram or something for like 5-10 minutes before actually going to bed. But the night light feature is like the orange background versus the blue light, and it's really handy. But even then, it's still like, I have my phone on the dimmest setting at all times, and I still find it super bright. Like, I don't have a solution right now. I emailed them like before we had our last meeting, and I was considering just kind of giving up because I didn't know what to do. I don't have enough of a solid proof saying that it's working for my bedwetting. Like, there's really, like, ever since the last video, nothing's changed. There's nothing to say that it's working or not working, but I also haven't had it more than 3 hours. I think 3 is the longest amount of time, like sleep, if you will, that I've had it on. If you don't have one, I just want you to picture having one, because it's not exactly an easy thing to just kind of get used to. The idea is nice. The idea of having pressure, if you have trouble sleeping, and pressure in breathing and whatever in general, the idea of it and the fact that it could help you with all these health problems, super cool. Would love it to help. But it's not the fact that it's stuck on my face and I kind of don't like the feeling of it, that I don't like. Part of me doesn't want it to work, because if it did work and I couldn't get it to work, that would be so irritating. But if it didn't work and I'm just not wasting, but trying all this time and it doesn't end up working and I can't keep it on and it's not really helping with my bedwetting situation at all, then at least I tried and I wouldn't feel bad about it. But I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything to say that would say will work. So I will see the respiratory doctor in September, I think. I guess I will see what happens then, because he either has to prescribe it or not. Like, I have coverage for it now. Well, I mean, I've already been told that I could get it covered by my insurance company through work. I mean, like, right now is the time to try it and get used to it and wear it around the house and all that. Like, someone left a tip about that, which I have been trying to do, but it's so much different when you're awake. Like, you can control your breathing versus when you're sleeping. It's not the awake part I have troubles with, it's the falling asleep and staying asleep part I'm having troubles with. And like I said, it's been over a month and a week, so like 5 weeks, and I still am not used to it, any single one of the masks. And they said that I'm not getting the optimal amount of therapy hours during the night. So like, I guess the minimum requirement is 4, and I can't even get up to 4. So I'm not getting, which I understand and agree with, I'm not getting the optimal amount of therapy hours during the night. So how am I to tell if it's working, and why would they even give it to me if it wasn't working? Like, they would have to fork out the, what is it, like $2,000 or something in overall. Like, there's a bunch of things that equate to whatever, but it ends up adding up with all the pieces and garbage up to like $2,000. So they wouldn't give me that prescription if it's not working. But for now, I'm going to keep doing the trial period if I can. I don't know if they'll let me keep it for much longer, because again, I'm not hitting that 4-hour period, and I'm about ready to give up, because it's miserable. It's making me miserable. It's making me really miserable at night. Like, I don't want to go to bed because I'm like, I have to put this stupid mask on my face. And then when I finally do, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep, I'm gonna get ready. And then I don't go to sleep, and then I wake up and I'm upset and tired and frustrated, and I need to work in the morning. And so last night I was gonna give it a good long go, but it was like I had to be up at 7, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like still trying to fall asleep. I'm like, I need to go to sleep. So I took it off. But that's that. I know it's not the greatest of news, but it is what it is. Like, I don't discourage it for anyone in particular. I think you should give it a try. And so if you are also going through the same trial period as me, tell me how you're going through it, because I'm interested to know how the beginning goes for everyone. If you have had it for a long time, the CPAP or APAP machine, tell me how your first weeks or months went, because mine are not going so good. I wanted to go over a doctor's appointment I had. Really brief. Not the notes, but the doctor's appointment itself. I didn't even see the doctor. I didn't even see my regular doctor, because the intern guy was there, and it wasn't like super exciting, and I knew it wasn't going to be. I wasn't prepared for a huge, like, so what'd you do and how you doing? And well, I mean, it was that, but like on a smaller scale. But the guy, he's like, the first question he asked me was, so how is the Bedwetting going? Like the prescription I had. And I was like, oh, I forgot. Like, I totally forgot I was taking them. So I hadn't been taking them. But that means that he explained to me, he's like, but you were taking them? And I was like, yeah, I took them for about a month and a half, and I kind of stopped taking them all of a sudden because I'm really bad at taking my medications. In any aspect of my life, even pain medications I suck at taking. If I'm in pain, I just kind of suffer through it. because I just am not good at taking pills. It's kind of a skill. I think I'm proud of people who can take pills because I can't. Well, I can. It's just like, I don't have a problem taking pills. It's just being too lazy to take them is the problem. So he's like, okay, so you just stopped taking them. I was like, yeah. And he said, so did they work? And I was like, no. And he's like, did you have any side effects? I was like, no. And he said, you had a pretty high dosage of them. You had no adverse side effects. I was like, no. And he's like, all right, I mean, I guess it's a good indication that it did nothing. And I was like, yeah. And then he asked me about my symptoms and stuff, and he seemed to get a little like confused or awkward when I was talking about bedwetting versus overactive bladder. And I was just like, I got nothing, kid. I don't know how to break this to you. Like, I don't know how to make this sound easy, but it's not. Like, I'm comfortable talking about it, but sometimes to certain doctors who look uncomfortable, I'm just like, sorry. What we ended up saying was, I was telling him that I tried the CPAP machine. I'm still trying it. It's not going well, but at least I'm trying. And I'm also exercising 3 times a week, which I am. I am doing exercising. I'm using the treadmill. And I'm going to a gym. And he said, okay, good. And I was like, yeah, and I'm also noticing like carbonation, like carbonated drinks really irritate my bladder. So I try to avoid those at all costs. I didn't really drink them a lot before. I was never a soda or pop or carbonated water drinker, even though I have had them in the past. It's not that I've never had a drink. But I was just telling him how certain things make my bladder overactive more, and that I was just trying different things like exercising in the CPAP machine, and also seeing the Medtronic rep for my implant, not regularly, but like every 6 months or so. To see if the Medtronic device or the implant will finally work. We'll still have hopes on that, by the way. We're still trying that out. And so because these things sound really good in theory, I kind of laughed at this. I didn't take offense to it, but he was just like, okay, sounds good. Yeah, that should work. And I was just like, Jesus, I can't just say that. Oh, that sounds really good. You know what? That'll cure your overactive bladder and bedwetting for good. And that's kind of like what he said, but in like more or less words. He was just like, yeah, keep doing those and that should work, and yeah, we'll see how you're doing in 6 months. And I was like, you're awfully optimistic. Well, I didn't say that to him. I was just like, but it sounds good in theory, right? The things I'm doing, they sound good in theory. They're not working. But you know what? That's fine. That's just where I am right now. And I sometimes get really upset about it, as you've seen in my other videos. And sometimes I'm okay with it, which I seem to be right now. But in overall, like, this is just how it's going. And I have no idea if I'll ever have a cure for it. But like, I'm still open to ideas and trying new things. And next time when I see them, my doctor or them, whoever, we're probably gonna try Botox again. And I've kept saying this, that we're gonna try Botox eventually again. But they don't want to pair too many things together, and I agree. And we don't want to try too many things at once because we might not know what does what and how to continue going further with that. So it does take time, and I understand that, and I'm okay with that. So that's where I am at this point in my life. The best thing that comes out of this is I tell you what happens and what works for me, and then you might be able to tell me what works for you. I like sharing my life with you, and I hope that you guys are interested in hearing about it, and then also seeing what else to try for your own life. But yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content, and if you have any other chronic conditions you want me to talk about, I might be able to film other things like other than bedwetting if you want me to explore into other venues of stuff. And also, if you like this video, give it a like, and I will comment down below. I'll comment back, and I will see you guys next week. Bye! Hey, quick update. So after I filmed that video last night, I went to work today and I got an email from the CPAP center, and I just wanted to kind of like go over it real quick. So apparently I have not, obviously I've not been using it for the optimal amount of time. However, what she did say was thus far, when I am using the unit, my apnea events are drastically decreased. So that is interesting. Therapy is working for me. We just need to work on increasing the usage time. So that's what her first email said, which I thought was very interesting and, you know, good. And if it's the apnea events are obviously being decreased, then maybe after prolonged use, if I do it right, then I can hopefully see changes in my actual bedwetting. And so I said, you know, what do you think, like, about the mask situation? And she said she wanted me to track my nightly usage with it and trying to increase it by 5 to 10 minutes every night so that I don't get overwhelmed. So anyways, I just thought that was kind of cool to hear back from the actual statistics of it. Anyways, I'm gonna go now. That's all I wanted to say. Just wanted to put this in the video, and yeah, bye!